What's up, everyone? This is Pooka, and welcome to another game I played on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online. And in this game, we're going to be using a deck that has been gaining a lot of hype recently, and that's going to be Empoleon. Now, this deck seemed to gain a lot from the recent rule changes. Number one, your opponent not being able to attack on the first turn if they go first. Number two, Pokemon Catcher being errated to require a coin flip to be used. Both of these work very well in Empoleon's favor, because it was very much a victim to having its Piplups hunted down in the early goings and never really being able to recover. So we're going to try it out here and see what the hype's all about. In Europe, it has won a few big tournaments with Empoleon and Leafeon, so that is what I'm trying out here. So it looks like we're going up against an unusual deck. It's a Zoroark, Darkrai, Absol deck. We don't see Zoroark featured very often, but this will be an interesting matchup between two decks that really aren't played very often, I suppose. So I'm going to go ahead and get a turn to Empoleon here. Pretty fortunate to top deck that. I have a diving draw here. I have to decide what I want to discard. I can do either water or sock there, and I decide sock is probably going to be useful at some point against that Absol that's going to come out. I do have to keep a big bench in order to use Empoleon's attack command. Does 10 damage for each Pokemon in play. So I decided to keep the sock. And I missed an energy, so Eevee's just going to sit up there. And we're going to use Tropical Beach to draw a fresh hand. 6 more cards. It's a nice stadium card to have. A lot of people can't afford this card, so I apologize for that. Just pretend I used a Skyla for a Juniper there instead. And then my opponent played an N anyway, so it didn't even matter. Alright, so it looks like Zoroark is coming out. There we see my opponent evolves into that. And you know, Zoroark can actually knock out Empoleon in one hit with a Dark Claw and Brutal Bash. It can do 140 damage, so this is actually a pretty formidable foe to go up against. And we see my opponent uses a dowsing machine for Verbank City Gym, and there's an energy switch. So we're going to see the most intimidating thing in the game, a Junk Hunt for a knockout. My opponent uses Junk Hunt, and then poison damage knocks me out in between turns, which does not bode well for me. Now, I do have this Empoleon coming out, so things aren't all bad. So we'll go ahead and evolve into Prinplup there, and we'll evolve into Piplup, and probably just Juniper the rest of the way. I want to keep a bench spot open for Mr. Mime to block bench damage from a potential Night Spear. But now, let's see. We don't have a whole lot going for us. We're going to diving draw away the Flareon. I play one of those. Since I'm running Eevee, might as well just run those two. And we have more than enough Pokemon in play to attack command for 110 damage. There are 11 Pokemon in play. So we'll go ahead and take the easy knockout on that Sableye, but Zoroark comes out right away with that Dark Claw, adds 20 damage, and a Hypnotoxic Laser to boot, so this is overkill on poor Empoleon. And then we see a Dark Patch, all sorts of cards flying out from my opponent, and you can see this is going to be pretty tough for me to keep up. We're going to be trading Pokemon, and it's probably going to be who misses first. Am I going to miss my Empoleon, or is my opponent going to miss a turn of knocking out Empoleon with Zoroark? I am able to rare candy into the new Empoleon here, so that's pretty nice. And have a Prinplup waiting on the bench, so everything seems to be okay. Go ahead and Ultra Ball, getting rid of Leafeon and a Juniper. And the last Empoleon is prized. So it looks like we're going to have some struggles here. This is not going to be good. We do have the combo, though, Execute, Diving Draw. One of the coolest combos in the game. Diving Draw, discard a card, draw 2 cards, and then you just discard Execute. So then later you can just bring Execute back with Propagation and then Diving Draw for essentially a free 2 cards with that ability. It's pretty nice. They work really well together. But alright, we're going to go ahead. I was fishing for a Super Rod there. Did not get it. So we're going to have to attack command Zoroark for 110. Hope to get Empoleon out of the prizes. But no, it's a Silver Bangle. Now we'll hope for Empoleon to live through the turn. and I did end my opponent down to 4 cards, so it's not an unreasonable expectation there. But we do see a Super Rod and a Colress for a massive 8 cards. There's an attachment, there's a Hypnotoxic Laser, another Dark Pokemon, and a Brutal Bash for 120 plus 30 from the poison. Now things are not looking good. Now we know all my Empoleon are in the discard, one's in the prizes, so I don't really have an attacker right now. So what do I do at this point? I probably want to play a Juniper. Hopefully we can hit a Super Rod plus an Ultra Ball. That would allow us to get Empoleon into play, and then we'll be fine. That's what we're going to have to go for, and won't get me enough cards. So I'm going to have to Juniper. And, oh boy. Wow. I missed just about everything there. So I think we're going to use a switch to try to protect the Prinplup right now. Just switch into Sock as a sacrifice. I could have switched into Duskull there, but that would have given my opponent an opportunity to actually just attack me with a Sableye and a Laser, and the Zoroark would survive. So I want to force my opponent to attack with something big in order to knock out my active Pokemon this turn. And there's a Brutal Bash for 120. And man, I need to top deck something here. Well, I get Jirachi EX. Not exactly something I was looking for. I was hoping for a Super Rod or an Ultra Ball. That way I could Super Rod in Empoleon and then Ultra Ball for it. But at least Jirachi does give me an option here. We're going to use Stellar Guidance to search for a supporter card. Grab the Colress so that it'll give us a chance to draw everything. And I'll play as many cards as I can before I use the Colress in order to improve my odds. I need to draw a Super Rod and an Ultra Ball off of this. And here we go. We got both. All right. So we're still alive. So we can Super Rod, put in 2 Empoleon, and then the third card doesn't matter too much. I guess we can put in a Piplup just to have another one at our disposal. Have more basics available. Then we'll use Propagation. Go ahead and Ultra Ball, get rid of Execute, and then probably Skyla. Search for an Empoleon and get that right into play right now. So this is working out pretty well. I'm down 2 prizes, jeez. And Zoroark is knocking on the door. So this actually looks really bad right now. But hopefully we can make something of it. Let's see. I'm going to Level Ball from Mr. Mime there and put him down. And then Propagation, get back, execute. Diving, draw 2 cards. And I get the Empoleon. That's kind of what I was going for here. So I can Dowsing Machine for Rare Candy and get that into play. Dusknoir is a very good card, but I don't think it's going to help very much in this instance. So we're going to favor getting another Empoleon in play instead of the Dusknoir. And I want to do this right now in case my opponent has an N and disrupts me and I won't be able to get an Empoleon out next turn. So I need to do this right now. And we'll attack command for 110, knocking out the Zoroark, get the Prinplup off of the prize, and yep, here we go, Hypnotoxic Laser, and okay, a Juniper, so maybe he doesn't have an energy, but there it is, and there's a Dark Patch to go with it, and let's see what else happens here. Dark Patch goes on to Darkrai, which is interesting. I'm not sure if he's planning on using Night Spear at some point, but alright. Here's what this is going to come down to. A big N for 1. How often does this happen in Pokemon nowadays? You play an N, put your opponent at 1 card, and cross your fingers that he does not draw the cards he needs to win the game. So I do get this Super Rod off of a diving draw. I'm going to shuffle in Piplup, Empoleon, and it really doesn't matter at this point. I could put in a water. It really honestly doesn't matter what I put in at this point. I think I'm going to go ahead with the water. And we can N. Shuffle my hand in and draw 3. My opponent will get 1. And then attack command for 110 damage. Alright. So now my opponent is at 1 card. He promotes the Sableye. Wow. Then just attaches the Darkness Energy. And it looks like we'll see a Junk Hunt here. I'm still down by a prize, so my opponent will have 1 more turn to win. Hopefully I didn't bench too many Pokemon for Absol's Mind Jack to get me. I have 4 bench Pokemon, so Mind Jack is doing 100 damage. So if he were able to get a Dark Claw and a Hypnotoxic Laser, Mind Jack would knock out Empoleon, and I would lose this game, and that would be a brutal way to lose. There's a Dark Patch and a Laser coming back to my opponent's hand, but he only has 1 other card, so we'll see what that is. The tool on the bench is a Silver Bangle for Absol, so I'm not too worried. And I was trying to draw Prinplup here, so I didn't have to waste Rare Candy. And I might still just want to go for Prinplup. However, I may want to Rare Candy into Empoleon so that I don't lose to an Escape Rope. That's something I needed to keep in mind. So maybe I didn't draw the Prinplup, but maybe I'm fortunate here. Now I'm going to Rare Candy into Empoleon, and we'll prevent any Escape Rope shenanigans if that were to pop up. And now it's really going to come to this. I'm going to attack Command for 100 and take the knockout on Sableye. We are at 1-1 in prizes. And can we take the last one before my opponent does? There's an Energy onto Absol, a Dark Patch, a Hypnotoxic Laser, and I go to sleep. Oh no! There's the Mind Jack for 100, but we wake up. And let's see, there are 4 Pokemon on my opponent's side. And we're going to put down a Piplup. That's 6 on my side, and then attack Command for 100 damage for the game. So we can see Empoleon is kind of strong once it gets an opportunity to actually set up. So maybe the rule changes will benefit this deck quite a bit. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed this video. I will have some more for you soon. This is Pooka from the Top Cut, and I'll see you guys next time.